Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matters more than ever. Remember to use code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Place your money line, prop, or parlay bets with the king of sportsbooks today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Iowa only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Wrestling Art with Chris Things.
Ray! Do the hammerlock. I do the hammerlock. Do the hammerlock, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the hammerlock.
Hi, friends. You've come across another edition of Wrestling Art with Chris Things. I am Chris Things Brian, your host, your friend, your art guy, your confidant. I'm here. I'm here to talk about another tremendous match of the week that we had. In addition to get you all caught up on the latest haps in the world of Chris Things here. I don't know if you can notice the audio is a little bit different here, but I am actually recording on location in Melbourne, Australia. Sandringham, or no, Cheltenham to be fair, but I'm recording in cousin Ben's backyard. You might hear some birds and stuff, but yeah, I think it's a pretty nice vibe here, and yeah, it's been a wild time. So I told you guys all about all the things that I had going on last week. That was just crazy thing, but I got through it, got all the things submitted, got all the paintings done, made it to Melbourne, got through this first Melbourne Lucha Fantastica show, which was a great time. To be honest with you, I got up at like 10 to 5 that morning for an early morning flight, and then I had to do all the things once I got to Melbourne, all the setup. We had the family show, then we had the nighttime show. By the end of the night one, I was so smashed. I don't know whether it's just because I'm like an old man, or whether I just have been burning that candle on both ends, but yeah, it was an awesome night still, but I just feel like, sometimes you can't get the proper, joy that you feel like you should be getting. So yeah, guys, I highly recommend having a nap every now and then. That could make a big difference. But yeah, so I had that. I met some amazing people as always at this Melbourne Lucha Fantastica show. It was so much fun, including a listener to the show in the wild. This dude, like, it was actually such a lovely chat, and it blows me away that I can do an interstate show, and for the first time ever, and meet someone that is a listener to this little old podcast. But yeah, ledge of a dude, and he actually submitted an entry to the the current match of the week competition, the You Draw the Match of the Week competition, which is drawing to a close. You've got like one more day after this podcast comes out, and then that's it. So if you want to just get in, you have another opportunity. Some amazing entries so far. Yeah, I've been blown away. I think I said at the start what I was most looking forward to was the variety of different entries, and man, I can testify to that. We've had some incredible variety on these bad boys, so it's going to be a tough choice going through and picking which of these is my favourite. But I want to just thank everyone so much for what they've submitted and the time that they've put into it. It's been just so great. And yeah, that dude from the Melbourne show told me how he really enjoyed the process of drawing it, which that warmed my heart. To hear, because that's to me probably the most important thing of this whole deal. The enjoyment that you get out of it. If you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? But also, I say all the time, the natural enjoyment that I get out of creating, that's what I want others to hopefully get a bit of as well. So yeah, it's been so good. Matt, that is this dude's name. Shout out to Matt. Awesome dude, thank you so much. So outside of that, while I was in Melbourne, I also had the opening night to that BSA Fest, the Brisbane Street Art Festival art show that took place last Saturday night in Brisbane at Superordinary in Hamilton, and that was a wild thing because it seemed like quite a lovely night. It seems like some amazing other artworks there, and I only sort of got to experience it through seeing other people's stories. But that was still so cool to be a part of. I wish I could have been there in person, but I guess that's just the way it goes. A similar thing to that, the other week I was lucky enough to be part of a group show in Mexico City. Right, how wild is that? Was my first ever Mexico City show to be a part of, second ever international one. That was the Tercera Cuerda, or Desde la Tercera Cuerda exhibition, and that was organised by the great dudes who run Tercera Cuerda. Eric and Luis did an excellent job putting it together. Again, I've seen some bits and pieces of that show. Just so jealous that I wasn't able to be there in person. There was like luchador talks and some incredible different pieces, sculptures, all sorts of stuff. So it's my hope that maybe this will line up for next year when I'm going to be in Mexico City for my brother's wedding around that time of year. Perhaps they'll do it again and I can actually be there in person, but we'll see how we go. And then also, in addition to, because I'm still down here in Melbourne for this next Lucha Fantastica show in Geelong on Saturday night, but tonight back home in Brisbane, I'm part of a another group show at Netherworld, one of my favourite bars back home. It's Toads. Toads is the concept of the show. I so pleased to be part of this. Cane toads, to be specific. So I think a key part of it is cane toads are considered a pest in Australian culture. They're not great for local wildlife. So it's called Cane Toads, an Unnatural Art Show. So I've submitted a Chris Things original for that. Super stoked to finally get to go in and see all this stuff when I get back home to Brisbane. But if you're in the Brisbane area and not doing anything, want to swing on by on a Thursday evening for a little Netherworld art show goodness, please. Cane Toads, an unnatural art show. I think that'll be a delightful time. So my piece for this, I think it's a fun little ditty. But when I was preparing it, and again, this was like just really hectic, like boom, 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 getting all the things done before I had to go to Melbourne. I got this piece done. I got it scanned. I got it framed, and then I was like writing the title on the back of it, and I thought, oh, it'd be a nice idea to do my little stamp on the back, kind of add a little bit of an official kind of deal to this whole thing. That was not a good decision, because while I was stamping it, I realised I'd done something very bad, because as soon as I pushed that stamp in, I heard that awful cracking sound. And yeah, the glass on the frame just cracked. What an idiot! Man, I couldn't believe it. All the effort I put into framing this dude, and then it broke. Had to put it in a whole ass another frame. Man, I was heartbroken, but it's looking nice now, so you can go and have a look. Right. I think that wraps us up for today. Let's throw it over to Chris and Cousin Ben for the match of the week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit different today. We're recording in person for the first time in Cheltenham, in Victoria, not too far outside of Melbourne, for this edition of Match of the Week Chatski, and I got Cousin Ben on the show. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you very much, Christopher. It's good to do it in person. It's always it's a nice change up on trying to line up times from you being in Queensland and me being in Victoria.
Yeah. So it also means I don't have to painstakingly go through and remove the audio delay that we sometimes get on the Skype chats.
Or the sound effects of me drinking water or eating food while we're talking.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not. People
not
not used to that level of professionalism. They probably hear me slurping my coffee and shit like that.
Coffee? I thought it'd be a glass of wine at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, sometimes we'll see. But today it's a good timing to catch up to talk about this one. An amazing match that we watched between Go Shiozaki and KENOH from January 13th of this year, the first big Korakuen show for Noah. First show of the year after that Differ arena match or show with the unfortunate
infamous
main event of Ibushi and Marufuji, which I felt maybe we can touch on a little bit. But before we get into that, I did want to make mention. It's cool for us being able to do this time. So I'm down in Melbourne, of course. We had that Lucha Fantastica show in Melbourne that I was selling my wares at.
Very successfully too.
Oh, thank you. Everyone in the audience of Lucha Fantastica Melbourne was delightful. So many rad people. I was very, very happy. But you got to come along and you got to see it in person. You got to see the ridiculousness of Lucha Fantastica. See my art setup.
You actually had a very professional and a very classy setup. I did respect the hard work put into it, and the thought behind how you position your things. The t-shirts on the nice little rack, and then the prints for people to see, and even the acrylic painting.
Oh yeah, the Demonio Guapo Blue Demon piece.
That is the one. And you did like the work.
Oh, thank you.
Very skillful.
It's this is my, I don't know, in terms of in-person events, maybe like my fifth one, fourth one, something like that. And it's weird because it's sort of, to start with, I was like, what the hell am I doing here?
That's with all things when you're first starting off in a new realm.
And there's still a point where I'm a bit like that, but then at the same time, now that I've got a few under my belt, I kind of like know, all right, I put this here, I put this here, I've got my signs and such. So I've sort of...
What draws the people in, what's your big movers, and what you bring to draw them in, and what you're moving to help your back pocket when it comes down to it, as well as getting your art out there for people to enjoy.
Yeah, it's interesting to see always what catches people's eye in terms of the art, and as well, sort of like trying to provide like a bit of a encouraging environment if they want to have a chat, and
talk about it and what drew them in and
so yeah, it was
what motivates them.
Real fun night. I was honestly, the only thing was I was so tired by the time that night came around, because I was up at like 10 to 5 that morning.
That's the same time I woke up and I went to work and I was still sick. It was like, by the time we left, what would have been close to 11:30ish?
Yeah, something like that.
Trying to find somewhere to eat.
A rather disappointing burger afterwards.
Burglatory.
Yeah, let's make sure to make mention of the burgers that we're burying. Don't ever go to Burgatory and bloody...
The chips were very nice, though. The chips I had were very nice.
Yeah.
For a small cheeseburger, like at that time of night, I can't be too picky.
There's a certain point where you're just like, I'm just glad that I got food at the end of the day and we didn't have to go to McDonald's.
Yeah. No, because that definitely would have been undercooked if I went to McDonald's.
Yeah, but so this is the glamorous life that I'm living as a travelling carny selling my wares. But I'm glad you got to see it in person.
No, it was a good setup, a good night. It's like you had some nice musical entertainment. Mm-hmm. Those chicks definitely knew how to perform.
Yeah,
and especially that chick from Chile. Can't remember her name, but she was great. I definitely liked her little song she did.
I'll look up the name of this band so I can mention it in the intro to the show. It's escaping me this current moment, but all around a great show as always. And the wrestler playing Piggy Smalls in particular.
The detail into that costume, the little piggy tail, is like, that's a man who respects the finer details when it comes to putting on a performance.
Absolutely, and I don't want to pull the curtain back too much, but the man under the hood is someone who I am a big fan of and consider him a dear friend. So he did a great job. Well, we'll see if I have anything for our coming week on that front. See how we go. Maybe I can get the Piggy Smalls man on this podcast. See how we go.
No, definitely try and get him to give him a tap, watch the show, and then can talk about the Geelong show this weekend, and
we'll see how we go. But yeah, good to be in Melbourne. It's just fun to sort of get to explore and try to soak up the art stuff while I'm here as well. It's cool to be doing this in person and not like I'm sitting at home on my earphones and Skype and everything. It's a little bit different vibe. I like it. All right, now on to the match. And I think what we said about the differ. Not differ Ariake. Differ Ariake is long gone. The building that's standing in its footsteps, the Ariake Arena. This was the big, quite a big Noah show that just preceded the one we're talking about. Significant because I think a lot of people thought that the GHC Heavyweight Championship match should have been the main event of that show. Manabu Soya.
It's hard to disagree after watching the match too.
Oh my gosh.
It actually was amazing.
Soya challenging KENOH for the title, 2 former Congo members in just a barn burner of an awesome match.
And tag team champions together, I believe they were as well, weren't they?
They were a key part of that awesome interpromotional feud we had against All Japan earlier in 2023. But how much things change, and so they had an amazing match, but they had to play second fiddle to a clearly far from his best Kota Ibushi it was a dream match, honestly, against Marufuji, and I think everyone had quite lofty expectations. That we all remembered those awesome matches that they had back in the day. Those awesome tag matches they had back in the day. Very different Kota Ibushi now, though, sadly.
Yeah, it's like I think people had hoped because he knew the match was coming, had a bit of time. He was able to hopefully get his body in a better
There was some flashes of him getting it back in AEW, right? Like we had some pretty woeful performances, but then we also had some bits where you're like, all right, I think he's sort of getting good again, getting a bit more, getting his reps in, you know?
Like you could tell he got reps in, but you also could tell getting those reps in done damage to his body, and he went into that match and he was clearly not 100%.
I would say not 100%. I would say if we're talking about percentages, we probably got 12% Ibushi on that show.
But from when he went into the ring, I'd say he probably was at 70 being nice, and by the end of the match, it was lucky if it was 12%.
Yeah.
Like you could tell he was giving everything he had. But he was
and
basically...
that's the one admirable point of the match. That there's a lot of people that said some very disrespectful stuff about this match, and I think that sucks. And I'm not here to to be like, hey, this guy should be retired. Fuck, all that kind of stuff. Like that's his call, that's his journey, and I honestly, there's a level of respect that I have for him trying to drag his body through this match. Like you can't watch that and not be like, this guy fucking tried, and that's admirable. But at the same time, I'm quite torn on it because at the same time, what he did was not good for Noah, and him taking that match on and knowing he obviously had to know what he was capable of.
I think he knew, but he hoped he could deliver on that big night, the adrenaline and all that stuff pumping through his body.
I mean, the way Ibushi's brain works is different to most people. So I could see him just being like, the gods are just going to give me the strength to...
Well, like he's been able to do it multiple times, but the problem is he'd barely wrestled in 2 years or something. It's like, and you could tell that in his body, it didn't respond the same way. And it's like, well, you saw the glimpses in bits of AEW, then you thought, oh yeah, even comes down to he's got Marufuji in the ring with him.
And you could not have someone that's more capable, and he basically had to. It was like you know the definition of like wrestling a mop or a broom or whatever the saying is.
Well, it was more like wrestling a stone because he barely could move, and Marufuji had to make a match. And not only it'd be different if it wasn't the main event, but that's what even hurt him more.
Yeah, that
was the main event, and they'd gone after a match that, for me, my expectations were pretty high for it, and it over-delivered on that. Like, there was no disappointment at all when you watched Sawyer versus KENOH. That
over-delivered in spades. That was fantastic. Everything anyone would expect it would be. But to whoever made the decision, I'm assuming it's like Noah's director or whatever, or I don't know if it was like a DDT call or something, but to make that decision that this clearly far from his best Ibushi is going to be positioned above this amazing heavyweight title match.
But then it wasn't even his position to the main event. It was then to even not make the call because it wasn't a short match. That match, I think, still went at least 25 minutes or so, maybe. To not make the call on the fly, it's like, we can't put him over Marufuji. Like, it doesn't take anything from Marufuji, but it comes down to that was supposedly a number one contenders match. The way I read it, or the way Ibushi was positioned
it clearly looked like it was to set up Ibushi to be the, he's going to be challenging for the title. Yeah. He's going to be doing some real key stuff with Noah going forward. Not to be.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you've also wasted the main event because the person you put over isn't going to be able to wrestle for any time in the future.
Well, the last show they had a year ago prior to this, the main event was between Shinsuke Nakamura and Great Muta. Neither of the winner of that match didn't contribute a lot to Noah afterwards either.
No, and for having your biggest show to start the year, or it could be even classified as the biggest show of the year, your main event actually gives you nothing for the foreseeable year. That's where it also hurts you a bit too.
Yeah, so I think the whole reason we're talking about this is not necessarily to belittle that match, because like I said, I do think that there is a lot that's admirable in watching that match, and it is seeing a lot of heart, and it's impressive when you watch it, you know, knowing
how much grit and determination you should to get through it.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a lot of respect for it from that, but at the same time I look at a guy like KENOH and the amount of frustration he must have had of having to be like, after the level that he's delivering at with this title run, you know, he was basically disrespected by that match positioning. And then the reason I'm talking about it is because I think that carried through so much to this match that he had like a week later on the 13th in Korakuen Hall. And this is where he got to basically be like, fuck you.
That's what I was thinking too.
This is like the level that people expect from Noah. Yeah. And that's what I think this match was. Yeah. And like this match was officially also for the title of I Am Noah. Yeah. So that was part of it. Go challenging KENOH and putting his I Am Noah moniker
I think
on the
KENOH
line.
demanded he put it on the line to give him the shot, which respect.
Yeah.
Has that little bit of spice to it.
But yeah, so much of this match to me was about defining Noah and defining the quality that is Noah. I've said many times before, Noah to me is the best wrestling in the world, and this match really showed that and what it should be. And I think both guys were super determined to be like, yeah, fuck, this is what we're about, and it was everything.
Yeah.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matters more than ever. Remember to use code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Place your money line, prop, or parlay bets with the king of sportsbooks today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Iowa only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
And it's the same kind of match when you see KENOH and Go Shiozaki, and it's the kind of match you would think. It's like, okay, it's going to be a lot of hard chops, a lot of hard kicks, and the workings of how they set them up and how they make them mean something. And it's like, and it delivered in every way. KENOH's kicks were as hard as fuck, and Go's chops couldn't be any fucking harder. And it's like
Kobashi chops.
Yeah, it's like you can feel the weight behind them, and it's like for most, I look forward to those interactions in their match because I know from everyone I've seen, they deliver it every single time. It's like they make each chop matter, they make each kick matter. It's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. There's a purpose behind it.
Oh, I loved it. Like the age-old battle of like chop versus kick. Like that, I think some people could think that would get kind of repetitive or boring after a certain amount of time. But I loved it. I loved everything they did with it. There was just something so satisfying about like kick, chop, kick, chop. Like, you know, kind of like Go's matches with Nakajima a little bit in that sense. But then it was super interesting to a next level when Go starts targeting
the power
KENOH's kicks with the his chops and his lariats to the leg. Oh my gosh. And normally you could probably see it going the other way. Like I could see it making sense of like KENOH kicking the fuck out of Go's lariating arm or chopping arm, but this was like flipped on its head, and just seeing him like lariat a dude's leg. It's one of the coolest things ever. And then he kept working on it. He had that like kondo lock.
I was wondering what the submission was, but and then he went to it multiple times, and it's like you see the thought process behind what he's doing. He's trying to take away KENOH's biggest strength, which are his legs. The man's lower body is built like a brick house, and every kick, every stomp, every kind of move involving his legs and his power base means something. And Go's through the match, working on that through the whole match, trying to take that away from him, taking away his key weapon. And it's just impressive to see. It's like, it's simple moves, but the way they're used and the way they're executed are of the highest level.
That's a great way of putting it. I think a lot of the best stuff of Noah is stuff that can be, it's like simple, but so well done. And that's what this was. And that kind of is like the beauty of pro wrestling to me in a lot of ways. But yeah, like also I think, and I mentioned this when we watched it just before, Kenoh's selling of the leg through this, like acknowledging the work over the leg, but not doing it in a really over the top, like
throwing
kinda,
his body around like he's fucking end of the world type shit.
Yeah, not like holding his leg and screaming to the heavens.
Into the ropes like his legs being chopped off. It's subtle. It's like he's on the rope. He's just giving it a bit of adjustments. It's like leaves a little bit, then again it's like trying to frame up a little bit after a few more attacks on the leg. It's like it's all to a degree. It's not over the top. It's not making you think you're a fucking moron for how much he's playing up the contact that's made to his leg.
Yeah, like good selling is a fine art.
Yeah.
And it, like what you're saying right now reminds me a lot of a guy who I think is a big inspiration for Kenoh, and to me one of the greatest sellers in the history of professional wrestling, in Toshiaki Kawada.
Oh yeah.
So you can see a lot of connections there. You continue on here. I got to stop this alarm. Keep talking.
And Christopher leaving an alarm going while we're recording a podcast, that's a very professional move.
That is so bullshit because I set that alarm for you. Oh, but yeah, man, this match so good. There's little like winces and stuff, like showing that, you know, the acknowledging him when working over the leg, but then like bringing it back to finish in a real strong way. I love everything about this match, the physicality element of it. I mean, we've said before, you know, you watch a lot of other wrestling, a lot of American wrestling, even like I bloody love lucha, but lucha is not the most physical style of wrestling, right?
Not even the slightest.
And then you watch something like this, and it's just like, this is the fucking meat and potatoes wrestling that I want. You know, the physical, hard hitting, like contact, the contact on those kicks, the contact on those chops.
For the most part, it's not dangerous spots they're connecting with.
There was some dangerous stuff in this match.
There was definitely dangerous spots in the match, but where the 90% of the contact, the kicks and the chops, are to the chest, the back. They're the spots, and they're high skill level. Done right, you can be very, very physical, but you're not actually doing serious damage.
Yeah, I mean, when I used to wrestle, you know, I like to hit hard and be hit hard, but most of that is like you hit people fucking hard, but in safe places, and that's what wrestling is all about.
The fine line.
Yeah,
and they perfect it.
Yeah,
like there definitely was some very hard hitting spots. Like the dragon suplex off the...
Oh my gosh. So,
like,
let's talk about that for a second.
That technically he wasn't on the safer side, but
so that was compounded as well, because I remember seeing early on in the match when they got to the outside, I've had this great back and forth on the apron, teasing a lot of this stuff that we were talking about, of like the kicks versus chop kind of thing. I think Go went to like lariat Kenoh's feet out when he was on the apron. Kenoh jumped to like avoid it, did this like great like
cartwheel to the ground.
Oh, so good. And then
so smooth.
That was when, was it Kenoh hit Go with the German on the outside? Yeah. And Go basically landed on his face.
He nearly got full rotation pretty much to the outside, and it's those Corica mats aren't very thick.
Yeah, above that hardwood floor. Yeah. But yeah, then we basically got a call back to that with this. He's getting him up on the top rope in the corner. We're like, what the fuck is going to happen here? And then he delivers one of the most badass super top rope avalanche dragon Germans that I have like ever seen. My gosh.
No, it was pure perfection.
And he landed on his face again with that one too. Face and head, I think.
I'm trying to think where's the safest spot to hit. Where as much that, say, to me, maybe it is the face over the... If you get too high with the back of the head to the neck, the flinging...
Because I don't buy it as well when they do those moves and the guy just takes like a clean belly bump. Like he rotates completely over. Like there needs to be more of an element of danger.
Yeah.
It's weird. I'm like talking about it's like guys should like sacrifice their well-being for my enjoyment. But, you know, that's what wrestling is.
It's like if you're not pulling that thing out frequently, then the odd spot like that isn't a massive thing if it's done by... guys who know what they're doing. Yeah,
I mean, when we're talking about this skill level of guys who are as good as KENOH and Go Shiozaki, like any of those bloody safety police that we see on Twitter that'll see like a gif and they'll be like, oh, how many hot dogs do they get paid for this? But fuck those people. But, you know, when you're talking about guys this good, they deserve the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. It's like they know what they're doing. This looks bloody rough, but they know what they're doing. It's not our place to like be questioning that, you know?
What they're taking or how they're taking it, or because it's also, I don't remember the last time I've ever heard that either of them taking a long period of time out from a bad move. Like injuries, yes, happen, but not from not a concussion or not this or that or concussing a guy by doing.
I don't know. I could think concussions coming from that one.
Yeah, I could, but not in this circumstance between those two.
But maybe they're probably just used to getting concussions every match anyway. I don't know.
True. We don't know you don't definitely know the inner workings, what happens behind closed doors in Japan, because it is kept pretty quiet. So yes, you could be right there, and I could be wrong. There could be a lot of concussions that you probably just don't hear about.
I don't know. I mean, there's obviously a tough Japanese culture around, you know, wrestling and all of that, but. I just love this match. This was so good, and the finish, there was like a great near fall after that dragon, and then KENOH hit him with a big double stomp. Amazing kick out from Go that the crowd just like went bananas for, and then we finally finished it off with KENOH then going for his big super finish. That awesome moonsault double knees off the top. Oh, man.
He knows how to deliver on the special moments.
Both of them, man. I mean, this was an amazing match. I watched it. We both watched it quite on a delay. It's like this match happened in January. We're now in May. But the weird thing was, I don't remember hearing that much crazy appreciation for this match at the time.
I think because when it was positioned just after Wrestle Kingdom, then they had the New Japan show and Osprey Okada match there, and they seem to get more. They definitely get more publicity. And then
I can tell you, I enjoyed this far more than anything on Wrestle Kingdom. Like I can't think of anything that's in the consideration, because that Okada Danielson match, I thought that was very good, but not this good.
No, it probably wasn't as good. Yes, for me, I'd probably agree that this for me was a better match.
But it's all personal taste. If someone else said that other one was their favourite and that's just their style of wrestling they prefer,
you can't hold it against them. Everyone has their own little things they prefer, their preferences, what they enjoy more, and that's always going to change your opinion. Like upper echelon match, it's like only say that little half a star or 0.25. That it's just your personal preference. Elevate something over another thing, but that are both in the same sort of position on how good. Like they both are amazing matches, and
I think at the end of the day, a lot of people get too stifled up over star ratings and someone's all that kind personal. Of stuff.
It comes down to it's like as unbiased as you try to be. Everyone has their own preferences, so there is always going to be a little bias one way or the other. And I don't think you really can worry about half a star here, 0.25 here or there. It's like it's human nature. It's one person's opinion when going to the star rating system. It's like, well, for me, he's as neutral as you can be to a point.
You're talking about Dave?
Yeah, for Dave, because they're the only ones I really see that are consistent, gives a star rating, and his personal preference is always going to have that little 5 or 10% on top of something else, and that some people try and hold it against him. For me, it's like, well, everyone's a little bit biased. It's almost impossible to be impartial when it's coming down to your...
biased. You're not like a wrestling star making robot machine.
It comes down to it. It's your star rating system and it's your personal preference. It's like you're neutral to a point, but there's always going to be a little one way or the other, and it's like, well, it's not the end of the world.
I think at the end of the day, great wrestling is great wrestling, and all
that doesn't change.
All the star things are meant to be is just like, this was a bloody match. You should a bloody good match. You should watch it.
And that's what he brings it back to. It's like anything above a 4-star. I'm saying this is a good match. You should go out of your way to watch. And then from there, it's your personal preference on what you. This is mine, and you do something different. It's like, so what?
Yeah, exactly. And really, in like finishing up, I think a great thing about this match is if you know nothing about Noah, if you know nothing about KENOH or Go Shiozaki, if you're going into this completely like dry, you could watch this match, I think, and you could still appreciate and love it in every way.
For a just over 20-minute match, has a good, strong pace through the entire match, doesn't slow, it just goes. And you won't be disappointed in anything you see.
It's not like you have to be aware of like all these things that happened
in the
like
past,
the last 5 years ago or 4 years ago or whatever.
All you need to know when you watch a KENOH and Go Shiozaki match is KENOH kicks like a motherfucker, Go chops like a motherfucker.
Yes,
that's the basis of the match.
Such a simple story.
Simple story, and it never disappoints for me, no matter how many times you see it.
Exactly. So, again, if anyone still hasn't watched this match, please go out of your way to watch it. This was so good. Easily my favourite thing I saw this last week. And, man, the illustration was a fun one to do. Obviously used a lot of green in that one, which was by design.
All was on the line.
Wanted to, considering how much of I am Noah, this is Noah. I wanted to, add a little bit of that Noah emerald green in there, and I think the moment itself. Obviously, there's a lot of crazy, massive spots going on. Like I could have done that, like dragon suplex that we were talking about, or a variety of the chops or the kicks. But at the end of the day, that moment between the action, to me, can speak more than the moments of the action sometimes.
The intent.
And that's why I thought this, like, it captured both of their vibe so well in, like, sort of like KENOH has just been kicking the fuck out of Go, and Go just has that, like, undeniable, unkillable spirit, and he's, like, looking kind of, like, weathered, but, like, that sort of solemn, like, his, whatever.
I will not give in because I am Noah.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it captured the spirit quite well. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do, and hopefully this was lived up to the incredible match that it was.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, all right. I think that's good for us for today. I know you've got to get out of here, and I'll loop back to finish this off later on.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Ben.
Happy to be.
Okay. It still feels so weird doing this in a different environment after I've been, like, doing the podcast in my office for so long. I don't know if there's, like, an extra awkward vibe, but either way. So I had a great time there talking about that match. Obviously, I loved it a lot, enough for it to be my match of the week. Hope you guys dug it too. It was nice to chat in person with Ben about that. It's again, it really adds a bit of a different element when you're in person with someone talking. So see how we go for my next guest coming up. But I just want to say a big thank you to you guys as well. I think that this match, like, it's a match that has the ability to connect with anyone, I think, regardless of what kind of wrestling they like. So, I mean, that's what I think really is a beautiful thing about a particularly great wrestling match, you could show that to anyone and they'd be like, all right, I didn't know what wrestling is, but that was rad. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to say a big thank you, as always, to the team at Social Suplex for, giving me the opportunity to do this show, for keeping the lights on, for all the things. At socialsuplex.com, you can check out a variety of other rad wrestling podcasts, from Keeping It Strong Style to All Things Elite to One Nation Radio, Tunnel Talk, Imp's WWE thing, Trish and Sarah podcast. Oh my gosh, guys, I think I did it. I think for the first time ever, off the top of my head, I've remembered all the other shows. Height of professionalism, as always. But yeah, thanks, Social Suplex. And if you happen to dig my stuff, which I hope you do. If you're partial in that way, I hope you follow me at Chris Things on the Instagram, at Chris Things on the Twitter. And if you ever feel like you need some of this Chris Things art in your house, up on your wall, next to your toilet, I don't know where you want to put it. Wherever you put it, I'll be honoured that it's in someone's house. I always really appreciate that. When people buy my art and then they send me a picture once they've got it on their wall, it just means so much, because outside of obviously financially supporting my art practice, there's this compliment inherent in that to me when thinking about that this piece of art is being in this person's life, that they are around, it's in their home, for all the time. Every day when they go about their business, it's like they see it. So that's really nice to think about. So if you would like to do such a thing, to get a Prinsky up on your wall, potentially an original art piece, I don't know, whatever you want, christhings.com.au is the place to go. You can see all of that stuff. There's quite a bevy of different illustrations and paintings and such that I got up there by now. And I plan on continuing that. So every week, new stuff up on there. Match of the week is up on there. If you want to get the match of the week Prinsky, you can. You can even get the original pen illustration that was drawn to be that match of the week. So yeah, all those things, christhings.com.au. I'm going to keep on doing this thing whilst I'm in Melbourne. Next up, we'll have the Lucha Fantastica Geelong show. I'll tell you all about how that goes. And we're on our way to the end of the You Draw the Match of the Week competition, which I have honestly been so stoked on all the entries. It's just so nice to see all these different takes, all these different versions of the match of the week, everyone's different styles and media that they've chosen to do it in, and it just really is a privilege to me to be like, man, these people have like taken time out of their day to do this. So if I can impart some sort of desire to create in anyone, then I feel like I've done my job. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for supporting. Means a lot. I love you all very deeply. Thanks, guys. I think that's about the end here today. I'll see you next week. Bye.
I do the hammerlock. Do the hammerlock, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the hammerlock. I do the hammerlock. Everybody's doing it. Do the eye gouge. Yeah, do the eye gouge. Do the eye gouge, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the eye gouge.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matters more than ever. Remember to use code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Place your money line, prop, or parlay bets with the king of sportsbooks today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Iowa only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.